any and all emergent situations. And those emergent situations, I'm going to state here now, is everything from a small creek that's flooding that impacts some of our local residents, or a house fire that's happening, and some people need some help in getting relocated or whatever. We respond to those, including what we all hear about is the large events, of course, the forest fires. And those are what we call level 2 and 3 things that Cliff will talk about and Kate will talk about as we drill down into the emergency management program. Shuswap emergency program today. Legislatively, we are controlled by the province under PEP. We have regulations. We have to exist now. Also, the Emergency Social Services, ESS, are within the Shuswap emergency program. So not only are we responsible for emergency preparedness, but also for social services. We have another part-time employee in Cliff's office, which used to be Cliff's assistant, and still is Cliff's assistant, but we made her the director of emergency social services, because emergency social services is comprised mainly of volunteers, and there needs to be some place where that can be controlled from, and all of the administrative support in the organization comes from. You can't ask a volunteer to do that on a long-term basis. You'll burn out your volunteers. And it's turned out to be very, very successful, as you'll hear later with the statistics on the number of volunteers getting involved. Our Emergency Operations Center, that's our heart. That is something that is really, really important. And when the Emergency Preparedness Organization was handed over to me 2 years ago, it was very, very lacking. It was basically a place of leftover stuff. And if an emergency happened, you had to go in there and kind of throw everything together. We have revamped that same space, totally reorganized it. It's completely wireless and, of course, backward compatible to hardwire and everything else. Laptops with all the required information is on them, and the communication requirements are on it. Voice over IP phones are to be activated in the next couple of days. Also, when you work in an emergency setting, you're there for 12 hours, 24/7 in this thing. So ergonomic seating workstations are important, and revised layout to be served. So if you walk into Salmon Arm and our Emergency Operations Center, you can walk into one in Denver, you can walk into one in Squamish, and they'll look exactly the same. It's all color-coded, and the organization is the same. You'll recognize the positions. You may not recognize the person sitting there, but the positions and the duties are exactly the same. We just completed the HRDA. It's a hazard risk vulnerability analysis. We got some funding from UBCM to do this. At their graces, because when the program was handed over to me and Cliff started to check back on the grants, this was one that had slipped through the cracks. So we went back to UBCM, and they did have some money left over for me able to do this. And this is really important. This identifies all the risks that we are vulnerable to here in our area, whether it's forest fires, whether it's the highway, the railway, landslides, whatever it is. And this is where you can set your priorities. And this year we have actively trained people, plus we've got some exercise programs. What we're working on now and what's happening in the future is, of course, we changed the name. The Shuswap Emergency Management Program, none of us could put our minds around that management part. We do understand mobile and mobilization and all that kind of stuff as far as M goes, because we have to do that in emergencies, but we can't really manage an emergency. We can prepare for it. So we changed the name to SEP, and it kind of falls out of pattern. So you get SEP, Shuswap Emergency Program, and everybody seems to have liked it. But of course, just from English to French on both sides of the cornflake box, you have to update everything. All our documents and correspondence papers, everything has to be updated. On the horizon, we're developing a program guide, and we're updating our emergency plan as a result of that hazard vulnerability risk analysis. We're creating an EOC operational plan. We also have some funding, more funding that we got from UBCM to work on an integrated First Nations emergency plan. So if we can, emergencies, as you all know no boundaries. And we have a lot of First Nations within the regional district itself, and particularly in this area, three bands. And we're working with them to integrate and for them to be part of our plan, and we become part of their plan. We're also creating a set member section on the website to see contacts and resources. We depend heavily on volunteers, and we have to be able to communicate with them. And for whatever reason, they could be isolated or whatever, and we still can use them no matter where they are, and that kind of thing will help us. Next year, PEP has agreed that we're going to do a full-scale, full-blown, I don't think it'll be an airplane crash, but I don't know what ultimately will be. I'm not supposed to tell, but there's going to be a full-scale exercise next fall in the Salmon Army and everybody. We exercised already, and we were really weeks ago. It was amazing. We got people in that little room, a quarter of the size of this place, maybe even smaller, and everybody was functioning very well. So the stuff that we've done is very good. I'm going to turn the microphone over to Cliff, and he's going to start talking and drilling down more into exactly what we do. The get your dirt under the fingernails type of stuff, and he's there. You'll see some pictures going up there. The Eagle River ice flows a couple of years ago actually did damage to the bridge. That's the Skylax Bridge. Actually, George Abbott lives on the other side of that bridge, but it doesn't matter who lives on the other side of the bridge. We would have responded accordingly. Okay, I'll turn it over to Cliff. And there might be a few more pictures up there too.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Council. Just very quickly going to talk about emergency management on a provincial scale. Back in 2000, there is a BC government interagency emergency preparedness, and they set up with a standard emergency management structure. And in 2000, they did that, and they decided to base their management structure here in BC on ICS. ICS is the Incident Command System. Next slide, please. And they named the process here in BC the BC Emergency Response Management System, commonly known as BCERMS. And throughout this, I'll keep saying BCERM, and hopefully I won't say an acronym that you don't know. There's a definition that the province came up with for BCERMS, and this was to guide every first responder organization, every emergency management program in the province, so we became coordinated and organized. Next slide, please. So as I said, it's based on ICS, and ICS, Incident Command System, originally came out of the United States. They're having problems fighting wildfires and forest fires down there using government bureaucracy, so they incorporated some military strategies into their planning in California, and another, I just can't remember the name of it, but 2 states started it off, and all of a sudden ICS has become the North American standard for first responder programs and emergency management programs throughout the continent. So most emergencies and incidents, 95%, Dave was gone, but 95% probably of the incidents out there are handled by fire or ambulance or police as first responders. And where BCERMS gets involved is we become, the program, emergency management program becomes site support for first response. When first response can't handle it, when it becomes much larger than just those first responders, they can call upon the emergency program to support them. Some examples would be a house fire here in Salmon Arm, where residents are displaced and need a place to go. The program can get activated and find them lodging, accommodation, food to get them going, or to sustain them until other support comes involved. Another example that's happened just recently is I'm working with the fire chief, Brad Shirley, trying to see if through the program we can come up with some provincial sources of absorbent material for hazardous materials, rather than the municipality keep spending this money in this material. The other thing that BCERMS can get involved with is if there is from the onset, whatever is happening is going to be so significant that we know it's going to quickly get beyond first responders. And there you see some of the ideas that help, I guess, the program and the people and maybe the politicians decide that we have to open up a BCERMS operation and open up an EOC. And the political need at the very bottom,